Yes, it's in progress, I guess. The
Yes,
message.
I just wanted to.
I'm delighted to welcome you to the Faculty Development Program on Cross-Cutting Themes 2024. It is an honor to have such a distinguished group of educators, speakers, and participants from across the Bhavan School. We are grateful to all our esteemed speakers and educators who have joined us today, dedicated to advancing the future of education. We are honored to have Dr. A.K. Sharma, Regional Education Officer, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, New Delhi, presiding over this session. Sir's guidance, leadership has made these sessions instrumental, these training sessions, and we are grateful for his presence and insights today as well. We are gathered here on this platform for a series of enriching training sessions aimed at enhancing our professional and personal development. Over the next 3 days, we'll explore critical themes in education that are shaping our future, such as equity, digital literacy, environmental sustainability, and global citizenship. We will share insights and discover innovative strategies that can make a real difference in our schools and communities. Before we begin our program, let us take a moment for a short prayer. In doing so, we pause to reflect on our shared commitment to improving education and express gratitude to Lord for allowing us to learn and grow together. This moment of reflection allows us to center ourselves, focus our intentions, and draw upon the collective wisdom present in this virtual room. We had Jaykaran Kawa sir on tabla and Chandrasekhar sir on harmonium. Thank you for joining me in that moment of reflection. Let us begin our first session and embark on this journey of exploration and collaboration together. Before I introduce our speaker for the day, there are some general instructions for all. All are requested to keep the microphones muted to avoid any disruption during the session. Kindly keep your video enabled throughout the session. This helps us feel more connected, though we are meeting virtually. In case you have any queries, you are free to post them in the chat box. Also, the attendance link will be posted in the chat box at the end of second session. So let us begin. Our first session today will be taken by Mrs. Sunita, TGT Social Science at Vidya Ashram, Munshi Marg, Jaipur. It is my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Sunita, a dedicated and accomplished educator with approximately 25 years of teaching experience. Ma'am Sunita holds an MA degree in history, a B.Ed, a postgraduate diploma in school leadership and management, and a certificate in guidance, showcasing her commitment to both academic excellence and leadership in education. Ms. Sunita has been recognized for her exceptional teaching skills and her dedication to her students with the prestigious Rotary Club Best Teacher Award. So here to Ma'am Sunita.
Thank you, Dipali ma'am. Thank you so much. And it's nice to meet you all here on this platform, as it provides us at least some opportunity to connect with each other, interact, and share our views despite our physical distances. And for this, I extend my gratitude to Dr. Anil Sharma, Regional Education Officer, Bhavans, who's continuously working on keeping these interactions live and an ongoing process. Thank you so much, sir. Namaskar, everyone. I'm Sunita from BVB Vidya Ashram, Jaipur, as Dipali ma'am has told you. And the topic for my talk today is equity, diversity, and inclusion in education, which is also the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. SDG 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable education. Parity Index shows that we still have a long way to go. I've been teaching social science, for almost 25 years. And every year we talk about results, school results, as well as the board results, wherein we see if you are doing good, others who are doing very good, others good, and some not so good. We normally prepare a result analysis, close the conversations with those who worked hard, scored well. Those who did not work hard could not score well. This is partially true as well. We do understand children who are making efforts are bound to be successful. But if we dig a bit deeper to help children, we will find that probably our intervention can help children. No doubt, our intervention cannot even make all the children get 100% marks or top the board results. But we can surely help a few perform better and feel proud of ourselves also as teachers who guided them. Now, to discuss the problems, I would just like to share a slide with you. I guess you can see the slide, Dipali ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
The slide is visible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Right. Now, looking at this slide, I guess all of us must have seen this slide time and again. कहीं ना कहीं घूम फिर के हमारे सामने आई ही है बार बार. Right? So, I guess we can draw some conclusions from this. Will somebody help me out with this? What observations can we draw from this slide about the issues that we face and how it connects to, equity and diversity and inclusion and things like that. Dipali ma'am, I guess they can unmute their mics to answer.
Yes, definitely, ma'am.
Okay. So, teachers, can you please make your observations about the cartoon?
Ma'am, there is no bias here. Everybody is appearing for the same exam, irrespective of whatever they are.
Okay, so we say no biases. And
No,
I guess that is what we probably call as equality.
all children are unique. So we shouldn't be assessing all of them on one parameter only. That's what I feel.
Okay,
So it says climb, they'll all climb the tree. No, not everybody can climb the tree here.
okay, good enough.
Probably there is rigidity and limitation of a system that all are tested at the same,
Okay, right, right. So, the observations, thank you so much. The observations which we can draw, the first thing which we can see is like, this group of, let's say, living beings who are going to appear for the assessment. This is a diverse group, like our own classrooms. Our classroom also is diverse like this, with people having different abilities, right? The second is, as rightly said, we don't keep biases in providing information and knowledge. We provide same or equal information to all, right? The third thing, thus, we have similar or the equal assessments for all, right? And thus, what happens ultimately, a few are declared fail, as we talked in the beginning, that when we discuss the results, we say, okay, a few performed good, few did not, and probably a few failed also. Right? As Einstein said, everyone is a genius. But if you assess fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. Now, to improve upon this situation which we have in front of us, so that the child doesn't spend rest of his or her life believing that the child is stupid or doesn't have the abilities, or the child lives in self-doubt about the abilities, some improvements are needed from the system, as we talked about. A part of this is the system, the assessment, right? Which, let's say, so many times it's the CBSE board or the state board or whatever it is. But a few areas can be improved with teachers' intervention as well. And thus, our role becomes very, very crucial as teachers. Now, here comes in the role, or this guides us to the idea of CRT. Now, CRT is culturally responsive teaching. This approach to teaching connects students' cultures, languages, and life experiences with what they learn in school. It is a powerful way to reach out to the students. When we talk of CRT, so what are the components of CRT? To look into the components of CRT, we'll basically talk about three things. That is our topic also: equity, diversity, and inclusion. To understand all these three things separately, what is equity, what is inclusion, and what is diversity. So we start with what is equity. So anybody wants to share what is equity? What do we mean by equity? Or is it same as equality, or it is different from equality?
it's different.
Pardon, Ranjita ma'am?
It is different, ma'am. Equality
it
and
is
equity,
different.
I think it's different.
Okay, so what is equity then?
See, as we say, all of us are unique and individual in our own ways. So, as in the beginning, I told you the system should be accommodating to all, maybe not in the same manner, because looking into the differences, you give them equal opportunities, that's fair, but then trim them, customize them as per their needs, or their making it more adaptive.
Adaptive. Right. So true. So equity basically, it means giving everyone not the same, but as per their needs. As you can see these three children here, right? So all three have not been supported in the same manner by the system. They have been supported as per their needs, right? Whatever, let's say this child needed 2 boxes, so he or she has been given 2 boxes, this child needed one, and this child needed none. This is what equity means, that we try to support the child looking into the needs of the child. What are the qualities where the child lags behind, and what is it that the child needs for improvement in certain areas, right? Whereas when we talk of equality, as you can see here, it means giving everyone the same. So when we talk literally, equity means fairness and justice. Equity is recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and must acknowledge and make adjustments to the imbalance we already have or we are born with. In this, reservation for socially backward and economically weaker sections of the society is an example of creating equity. Though it's not that I support reservations, but this is an example because all of us may have, different viewpoints about the need for reservation. Equity is the quality of being fair or impartial. It is like giving multivitamins to a person who fell sick and needs to recover. Like we all must have seen, when a child feels sick, or let's say even in the ordinary situation, what we have. If you have a sports person in the family and you have other child who's more academically oriented, their diets cannot be same. The child who's playing would need a different kind of diet with more of proteins or fats, probably less of starch or those kind of things. Whereas a child who's academically oriented, his or her diet should have lesser amount of fat or other things. So the components of diet would vary. Now, this is not that we are being partial with any of the child, but we are simply trying to understand the need of the child and trying to provide whatever the child, needs to reach his or her true potential. Now, equity is different from equality because equality means providing same to all irrespective of the differences. Whereas equity works on accepting and acknowledging the differences and thus making the adjustments. Equality is giving everyone the same pair of shoes, whereas equity is giving everyone a pair of shoes that fits them. I request other teachers also to give me a few examples of similar equity and equality kind of cases that we see in classrooms with us. In our teaching or other things, like we do have these issues and we do come across such things where we talk of equity and equality. So can we identify a few situations or cases where we can practice equity or equality? And can we have few people participating?
Yeah, may I?
Sure, Ranjita ma'am, because ultimately the conversation has to go on, right? So let others be benefited. Perfectly okay.
Ma'am, I think in a classroom when a lesson is ongoing, there are few who may have read it earlier and are better prepared and they answer very well and they are connected to whatever is happening in the class. But there would be someone who would like, a teacher may be explaining, so may not be able to understand unless he himself or she herself reads, listens to, and has an assistance of any other audio visual lesson as well. There could be the third one who would need both an explanation and a self, kind of an introspection with the learning to be able to get into the concept. So that way is where we feel the class stands diverse. Some
Right.
may just read and get it, some may read, write and get it, some may read, listen, write, and then make it.
Right. So what we understand is that different have, different learning capabilities, right? When we give them when we give them instructions, every child may take the instructions differently and may reach, a different level of learning or growing. Right. Now, I guess in case everybody is sitting with a paper game, or maybe you can try this at home also, that if we take a simple paper with us, let's say we take a simple paper like this. This can be done in a class. You give them instructions to fold the paper, this is your paper, we can fold it, and then top left, I'm just tearing it off. Right? So if you have papers, I would really want you to get into this. छोटा बड़ा जो भी पेपर है आपके पास, अगर आप कर सके, so please take a piece of paper, fold it, fold it, and tear it from the top left. Right. Then you can also tear it from the center. Once again, we can fold it. Once again, you can tear it from the top left. Fold it. And one more tear, we can tear it from top left one more time. Okay. Now what we can do is, if you can open your papers, I can see Dipali ma'am doing the same with me, Okay. So Dipali ma'am, can you please open your paper? Then I'll do it.
Yeah.
Then I'll do mine.
Probably, I don't know whether I've done it correctly or not, but still. Is it
Okay.
visible?
Okay. This is Dipali ma'am's paper. And I guess my paper is also visible.
Yes, ma'am. It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is simply, that we keep giving instructions, but the way children take them and their capabilities, they are
So
different.
it's because each hole is different, of different size.
Yes. Right? So I guess the difference of, instructions taken, the holes that we have at different places, the cuts that we have at different places, right? So children take these instructions differently. And that is how
2:1:1.
their level of learning also depends on that. Now, taking it back to our classroom situations, likewise,
Excuse me.
we can have is,
Ma'am, there seems to be some disruption here. Kindly check your microphones again and keep them muted.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So a few of the examples where we can, implement these ideas of creating equality through equity is, we can prepare some different set of questions for students. Like normally we do. We prepare FRQs for the children we feel are very good at expression, whereas some people, some children may be doing MCQs much better than others, right? Also, we can have different ways of assessment, which we already have, like pen paper assessment for the children who are good at writing or presenting whatever they have learned. And maybe oral tests for some other children, project-based assessment for some other children, or maybe some creative ways of doing the assessment. Also, different tasks can be given to children to motivate them, because some children, they may be very good at craft work. So probably when we ask them to write answers, few can just write it, literally like you are using words and alphabets. But others who are not very good at that, we can also help those children use pictures, diagrams, like you have bubble diagrams, or you have the flow charts, or you have the bar graph, or things like that. So the children can be given those kind of support material, or that they can be directed in that direction, so that they don't feel at loss that no, we are not able to perform, or we are not able to do anything. These children also will be able to learn along with others, and obviously we feel confident of themselves. Now, basically, why we have been talking about equity. ये जो सारा हमने equity और equality ये है, ये हमने किया क्यों? For the simple reason, you know, that our classrooms are diverse.
Okay, now these pseudos don't know anything about Riverdale.
I guess the video is
Yeah,
audible.
Yes, ma'am, it is audible.
voter out the yes. Yes. Who is Kavya Yadav? So you're the competition. Do you even know what you're doing, Madam Nani? Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Three के लिए ये vibe सही है. Full Kanya Vidyalaya vibes. If you know what I mean. I do. Good enough to tell the difference between cocky, condescending, conceited, and classes. आपको समझ आया? या हिंदी में अनुवाद करूं? मैडम सुपर नारी.
Okay,
Good enough for us.
right.
Is this all in Hindi?
काम कर रहे हैं अगर हम लोग जैसे
Now, if we have a look at this class composition, you know, though this is a very, very simple class composition where we have all girls, right? And seemingly all of them coming from good families, but even then you can see there is a cultural difference between the other girl sitting here and Kavya Yadav. Kavya Yadav seems to be coming from a family, you know, where the family values or the social values are different. Let's say when we have children from different schools and you know they come back, they transfer or they come back to a school where you find more of this what should we say, convent school culture, right? Or these boarding schools, especially in the hill areas that we have, Doon and other schools, the kind of culture they have. So when we have children going from middle class families, the difference that they notice and how they are treated by children over there. So there will always be a diversity in class. It can be about the economic background. It can be about anything, but this diversity affects the child, you know. And if we do not address this diversity, we do not address the behavior of children, how they are dealing with diversity. So we can have, you know, really different kind of impacts which are negative, you know, which leave a long lasting impact on the child, and ultimately the child learns to behave in a certain manner. A doll test was conducted to show how this kind of bringing up, where we consciously or unconsciously, subconsciously unaware of what we are dealing and teaching children, when we, you know, bring them up in that manner, how this affects their behavior and the choices they make in life. Let's have a look at this video.
Quale bambola è bianca? Quale bambola è nera? Quale delle due è bella?
Questa.
Qual è quella bella? Qual è quella brutta? Qual è quella buona? Quale è cattiva? Qual è buona?
Lei.
Perché è buona?
Perché ha gli occhi celesti.
Quale è cattiva? Perché è cattiva?
Perché è tutta nera.
E qual è la bambola che ti somiglia di più? Quale
Right. Now, see, classrooms are diverse. And as we can see here, diversity simply means being different. The children which have, shown in this video as well as the earlier video. So they're just being different. They're just different from each other. We need not attach the concept of superiority or inferiority with the concept of diversity. It varies, diversity in classroom varies from being ethnically different or coming from different economic background or strongly rural or urban, physically healthy or specially able. This diversity thus means children will have different value systems, like the value system of a rural and urban family would be different. Different mindsets or the way children take decisions, as we have seen in this case. Different bringing up and thus different behaviors, level of understanding, and thus different aspirations. So where is the problem? The problem is that the textbooks have same content to all,
Recorded है
right? Equal information is given to all children.
लीव कर
Also,
दें
the assessment or evaluation is same through all. So automatically, teacher tends to treat all as equals instead of using the concept of equity. And this creates the problem. Now, the simple story of a child, I have a child, who, let's say, who shifts from a rural area to an urban area. When the child shifts, let's say the father gets a job or gets transferred, right? But the child who has been brought up, who has imbibed the values of a rural background or a rural value system, what changes child faces when the child comes to a school in urban area, right? So what is unfamiliar or what are the challenges for the child? What's unfamiliar in the new situation? What are the challenges? Because what is unfamiliar or new actually becomes a challenge for the child. So
Ma'am,
what's unfamiliar here?
Ma'am, new surroundings, new place, new friends, new neighbors, new culture, everything is new.
Right.
Different, you can say.
Right. So things, they are new, or let's say we can say things are unfamiliar, right? But because things are new and unfamiliar, these things become challenges or start posing a challenge. So the child, may have, as ma'am said, a different language probably. If the child, let's say the parent feels is very bright and let us put the child in English medium, the child who's used to a Hindi medium school or a local language or a regional language school, when comes to an urban area and goes to a school where English medium is the medium of instruction or the school is an English medium school. So language itself becomes a problem for the child. Then new people, obviously, who are strangers, different cultures with a different lifestyle as well. Different value systems with difference of behavior and mannerism also. And thus, the result is the child fails to connect. And as the child fails to connect, the child is not able to make any friends. If we are not able to connect with people around us, we are not able to make any friends. Now, this has an impact on the child. Obviously, this will affect the child's behavior, right? And this would mean that the child becomes less interested in class and school because you have, nobody to look up to when you go to school. You can't smile to somebody. You can't say hello to somebody because you're scared. People are new and for the child, new simply means a challenge here. So the child, would become disinterested, would start missing the classes, would be absent for long durations, and slowly this would affect the academic performance of the child. The child is withdrawn. And that is where, once the academic performance goes down, what happens? The child slowly starts losing self-esteem, self-worth. ये सब चीजें धीरे धीरे खत्म होने लग जाती हैं, and the child doesn't have any confidence and no longer wants to continue going to the school. And in so many cases, where we see children are bunking from school, they are bunking from classes. Probably these are the reasons we can look into, that why the child is not coming to the class, why the child is not interested, why the child is not even coming to school. So somewhere we need to, check on things, that what's happening to the child, because ultimately the child, if the situation is not intervened here, the child starts thinking himself or herself as failure, right? But we can change the scenario. And in this case, let's say if the girl has, or if the child who shifted to this new school has something that is identified by the teacher as a strength of the child. Let's say in this case, if the child is very good at art, the art teacher may make the child participate in some art competitions. The child may also win some prizes, and this chance victory obviously will earn appreciations and acknowledgement for the child. Ultimately, what happens, once a child is winner in the class and known for artwork or anything that the child is good at, other people around him start looking up to the child and would start asking for help. Like in this case, if the child is good at artwork, people may ask for help. Please make my diagrams, or please prepare my file, or decorate my file, or things like that. And once, somebody is seeking help from us as individuals, we start feeling that power. We start feeling, okay, I have some, I'm worthy of something. I can help people around. So there is something strong about me. There is something good about me. And the moment we start feeling that, the game is changed, right? Obviously the child then starts looking up to going to the school. The child wants to meet the teachers, the child wants to meet the friends, for creating a happy environment for the child, right? So, there can be situations where not necessarily we have a child from the rural background, but in classrooms, like we have children who are transferred, probably, let's say, we have children who are moving from Bhavan school, let's say from Nagpur moving to Jaipur, or from Jaipur moving to Panchkula, or to different areas. So these children, when they shift, they have a different cultural background which they carry with them, and they have a different cultural background with which they have to accommodate, where they have to make a place for themselves. Now, so many times we just take it, acha theek hai, koi nahi, it's okay, Bhavan's ka bacha hai, so the academics would be same. And we tend to, take it so normal, okay. We take it as, okay, it's our own child, it's our own student, so we don't need to attend much to the child. But the child needs attention because of the cultural background or the difference that the child is coming from. Also, we have similar cases where because we are attending children with special needs. We have children, who are specially abled, and these children have their own needs. Probably they may need help in academics, they will need help in movement, in sports period, in going to different classes from the main classroom, going to the music class, going to the library, going to the field, to the art class, whatever it is. So we have to be sensitive as teachers to the needs of these children. Or, the RT students, the government has made it compulsory, you can't help it. And we have to accept the fact that the children are very much there, So they have their different needs. The way they feel, how probably in so many cases they are not at par with other children in the class. Probably they are not carrying the same kind of pencil box. They are not able to pay for the school trips. They are not carrying the same kind of food in the lunch box, same bags probably. Oh, there are different issues and different things, which can make the child feel low about himself or herself. And that is where the teacher's intervention can help the child improve things, right? Now, what we have next is that this is the time, when we can think of inclusion or talking, taking child into that fold. Okay, perfectly okay. The child comes from a different background, but we need to include the child. We need to, make the child feel one with the uh, class. And for this, the first thing that I guess we as teachers need to do is we need to come out of our own mindset. We need to stop fixing people into boxes, right? So let's see a small video probably that will help us with the idea that how all of us do have some cross-cutting similarities.
It's so easy to place people in boxes, drawing lines, creating signs. There's us, and there's them. Those we feel comfortable around, and those we don't. There are those of us with many chapters, and those just starting their own stories. There's the well-to-do, and those doing what they can. There are those we share something with, those we don't seem to share anything.
Welcome, and thank you for coming today, guys. Today I'm going to be conducting an experiment where I'll ask you a series of questions. Now, these questions will be very personal questions. And for us to get a true result, I need you to be completely honest with how you respond. First question I have is, who in here was the class clown? Who is never on time?
It's us. Have 10 minutes. We are others. Have lunch. Overcome great adversity. Lucky ones whose team won the championship this year. We who beat cancer. Dolphins. Who are
Right.
united as one under His grace.
Okay, would anybody like to share their observations, or like, would anybody like to reflect on this video? Fine. One thing I mean, I should have used a disclaimer in the beginning that most of the videos, they are probably not taken from the school background in so many cases, but yes, they are dealing with the concept that we are working on. So when I say that we should not compartmentalize people, or we should not put them into boxes, every day we meet children, and putting them into those boxes or compartments actually binds them. What this video clearly shows is that all of us, have some similarities which cut across all these compartments that we create and we build. And when we, cut across these differences, and when we bring children together on some common platform, because the entire class probably cannot be on common platform except for belonging to one class or belonging to one, school or section or whatever. But besides that, we can have so many similarities with children from different cultural backgrounds may share with each other. And once you have this idea that there is somebody who shares that similarity, probably that child speaks a different language, but that child is suffering the same problems at home. Probably that child, sitting next to you is a different skin color or probably a different religion. But the child's family is going through the same kind of crisis that your family is going through, or you are going through the same emotional trauma. So, we have to focus on these similarities which bring people, which will bring children together, and which can create, a bonding for them, where they can find partners who are with them. And thus, we start working on the idea of inclusion, which simply means that we include all these children in our learning process in whatever way. We just make them understand that some aspect may be different, but then you are similar to other people, in so many ways. You may identify with one group, with other group on different criterias. So there is familiarity which you may have in class with other people, right? So knowing this, that somewhere we are same, and some people, and we do cut across different groups, helps us create a group of life of ours, gives us a sense of security and connectedness. And I tell you, the moment we give this to a child, so whatever differences the child may have, whatever diversity the child may have, but the sense of security and connectedness that helps the child, look forward to the class, look forward to the teacher, look forward to the school, and doing well in academics also, So as a responsible teacher, we can work on three different aspects. One we can work is on ourselves. As a teacher, when I meet people with diverse needs, so it's my role. The second aspect is what I can do with the child. Okay. And the third is how the atmosphere around child somewhere can be changed, or let's say we can make it more accommodating. Here I'm reminded of a movie. I guess Hitchki, all of us have seen, where Rani Mukherjee plays the lead role. And she gets, let's say, a class of literally bullies, children whom we call bullies. And these children are not looked, they are not respected much because of the cultural difference which they have with children from other sections. And how management is not very supportive in that case. But the role of teacher, Rani Mukherjee herself, as a teacher, the way she takes care of needs of every child, the way she addresses them, a tremendous change. Likewise, there is another movie which I guess you can just see to see what impact a teacher can have on a child's life. Rough Notebook, I guess, is the movie where again we have similar kind of issues and the hard work of a teacher, how it changes the life of children, you know. So these are a few things. Now, what we can do, you know, what is our role? For that, we can be, you know, open to the differences of these cultures as we meet. And for that, I guess, to be open to different cultures, we need to read more. We need to especially move out more, meet more people, be open to whatever things we have around us. Then we need to know our biases and where do they come from. And, you know, on the face, we can say, especially, I guess, social science teachers would know that we do live with everyday biases. We do have stereotypes. We do have our behavior affected by stereotypes. And how do we behave so many times in a discriminatory manner? And our prejudices become so strong that we don't even realize that we are practicing these prejudices. Now we can talk about ourselves as a cultural community. Talking about yourself, you know, it gives a confidence to the child. Okay, if my teacher can talk about herself, probably I can also talk about my culture, myself. So the child starts understanding the cultural, his or her own cultural identity, and may take pride in who we are. We can have more positive body language. As teachers, I do understand, you know, at times we are 8 periods on, at times it's 6 periods. So much of work, academic work, with that we have so much of activities going on. किसी का फाइल संभालना है, किसी का सीक्वेंस सेट करना है, कहीं बजटिंग करना है. We do have all these issues. But ultimately, you know, we have to understand that the main role we have or main duty we have is towards the child. I guess everything can suffer. Let, you know, the clerical work or the preparation for any activity be on one side. If we have to compare it, who should get your attention and your attention with all positivity? So it has to be the child. So the priority when we talk about school, the first priority, top priority every time has to be the child. I mean, that can be, I do understand what I'm saying may seem to be very, very difficult. It's not easy. Talking about कि आप दिन भर खुश रहो बहुत सारी चीजों के साथ, that's not easy. Because ultimately we are dealing with emotions. We do have our own stress also. But you see, the only task which you have as a teacher is towards the child. बाकी सब चीजें हमारे जॉब के फ्रिल्स हैं और ये हमें हर समय at every time you have to keep in mind that if something is priority on your list, it is the child, whatever comes. So that has to be there, and that automatically, you know, will make you more approachable. The child will feel confident coming to you. So the body language comes from here, and if here it is the child, your body will automatically, you know, convey that to the child. Try to reach out to children, knowing their cultural background and what matters to them. You know, we can use some time in the class talking to children. Probably, I do understand for the management, it's like after class discipline nahi hai, you are not teaching, but please understand that is the most crucial task. When you talk to the child, you know, the child may tell you the entire story slowly, what's going back home, what's troubling the child, what matters for the child at that specific moment. And probably that gives us the space, you know, to deal the child like that. And that is what equity means, that we deal the child as per the need of the child. You know, we just don't try to impose कि नहीं तुमको बोर्ड में इस बार इतने नंबर लाने ही है या टेस्ट में इतने नंबर लाने ही है. If the mother is not well at home, the child is not interested in marks. The child is more interested in the well-being of the mother. But this you would get to know only when you reach out to the child, when you talk to the child. So, you know, take out some time to talk to a child you feel is sitting silently, you feel is not connecting, you feel is not working, you feel is not dressed appropriately, you feel is not eating tiffin, or probably you feel is fighting with others. So there has to be some issue which can be cultural, which can be the new situation, whatever it may be. But keep connected to the child and try to know what matters to them. Give rationale for various exams also, that is important because we do understand how exams are going to affect their future. So you are not in a position to force the child to study, but yes, once you talk about the rationale that yes, it is important for you to perform academically, you can improve the situation only when you are skilled and qualified enough. The child will surely look into the issue, right? We need to culturally sensitize the fellow students. Now, what things can be done around. So the fellow students can be culturally sensitized. We can involve families in the process also. Like, we have seen in so many occasions when we have a chance to call families, like let's say if you are celebrating something about culture, about diversity, or even teaching something about that. You are teaching something about profession. So families may be invited, father may be invited, mother may be invited to talk about their culture or to talk about their profession or any other thing, and thus families can be involved. We need to devote some time to cultural studies, assign group work to the child, and introduce child to some group and find share interest. When you have the group activities, the child starts identifying and connecting with other children and find similar interests also. Use alternative assignments and assessments which can help the child display his or her knowledge in a better way. Use different ways to teach, like we can have, one is common classroom teaching where everyone is sitting, and as we talked in the beginning that the teacher is delivering lecture, that can be one thing. The other thing can be, there can be table teaching. We can have that kind of a thing with children we feel are not performing very good or probably are facing some challenges. Let's say, one thing which I started doing with one of my child students in class who was very, very weak, and the child was not able to learn very lengthy answers. Though there were as such no cultural differences, but the child lacked academic capabilities. So what I started doing with the child, that after I would give questions and answers to the class, would sit with the child and help the child underline the keywords. Okay, you just write keywords in the answer and that would be sufficient. Probably, obviously, you are not going to get full marks, but you would not even flunk the class. So that kind of table teaching can help the child, and the child would have some self-esteem, probably the child would improve, right? Then we can have some group or collaborative studies where children can help themselves make a bonding, and it's because at their level they know कि आपको किस लेवल तक का समझाना है और कहाँ पर you have to stop. Though as teachers also we know class 9 क्या level पे काम करना है, class 10 क्या level पे काम करना है. But when we are teaching, at times in flow of teaching, we tend to, tell too much to them or impart too much of knowledge. But a child who's not able to grasp so much. So in a group study, the child knows that, okay, I can ask my fellow student के maths में मेरा ये सम गलत कहाँ हुआ, अच्छा ये formula मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, लगेगा कैसे, उसको याद कैसे करना है. So children have their own ways they have devised for themselves, which they can share with others when we talk about group or collaborative studies. And this can really help children, the diverse needs. Ultimately, we can have, acceptance within ourselves that with the changing time, changing technology, the most important thing that not everybody has equal access to resources. Children who are coming from very good, let's say, well-to-do families, they have access to different gadgets. Online classes, may we have seen how so many children, they were not able to, in fact, I would say they missed on 1 full year or 2 full years because they did not have access to technology. So that is one important fact in today's digital world, which we need to accept also. And we need to address to this issue also, that there are children who are, let's say, digitally at a disadvantageous position. So their performance may be affected, and we need to cater to them in a different manner. Now, I guess taking all those steps, we can have, a better classroom and see, how including children would, reaching out to children can change things for them, right? Now, inclusion, when we are doing this, we are simply trying to show to the child that we are trying to connect and create that bond, right? Inclusion just does that. Once you start doing that, everything is, it gets in the process. You know how to do it, you know what to do. So that concept here is very, very important. And that is the most basic need of every soul. All of us here sitting, obviously, we wanted the videos to be on so that we can see each other. So that is, again, we are trying to create a connect with each other. So every soul needs that. The more different is the child in the worldly sense, more important it becomes to make that effort, to include, to connect. Because the outcome is wonderful. A confident and happy child who will help to make this world a better place by spreading positivity and happiness. Let's see the video, though again, as I told you, it is not from a classroom situation, it is from a situation outside. But how when the child identifies his strengths because of the efforts made by others around him, the happiness that the child finds in life, is priceless. And he will change the society, with all the positivity and the happiness that he has.
Towers, a terrifying scene. Thousands of forces great around the count. Charge! Soldiers, blood red uniforms, Barbarella, and the fearless resolve to attack. Somber military battles, others raised their voices in war cry. Mighty soldiers started above their heads. Leading up front, a commander on a mighty white stallion. The beast's eyes were wide and ferocious, every muscle and vein pulsing through his skin. Commanding as the steed high, his face blazing with heroism, while still his eyes. For at the front line, survival is not guaranteed.
Let's find that one too. Let's say
Now you see, that is what inclusion does to children. The way this child realizes how, he's being helpful or how his quality is being appreciated. The entire look that we see when the child enters the museum and after describing the painting. So I guess that change is what we are looking for, that change we are making effort for. So I wish you all the best to bring those smiles on those faces which come to us with so much of hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma'am Sunita. This was a very inspiring presentation. A lot of practical insight you have put into it. I would say, a very informative and a very engaging session.
Thank you.
Sir, sir, would you like to share your perspectives or views, Dr. Sharma?
Any teacher who want to ask any question?
Yes, no, then we'll proceed.
Thank you, Sunita. Beautifully, you have explained all the things. These three words, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Beautifully, you explained with the help of video, with the help of examples. I'll like to add one or 2 points here. The one is about, it is related to the beautiful video that you have shown about black and white. In our country, there are few things which are very interesting. And one is the ad, fair and lovely. That if you are using this particular cream, you will be fair. So somewhere we are putting it into the mind of our children that fair color is superior than the dark color, which is very, very harmful. I don't know, and I don't think there is any cream which can convert the dark color to the light colors. So in my view, such type of advertisements creates a lot of confusion among the mind of our young children. So this is one example I have given. There are thousands of the example in our advertisements that we regularly see. And out of these advertisements, which is creating a lot of chaos in the society, whatever our teachers are doing as far as their equity, inclusion, or any such thing is concerned, diversity is concerned, I really appreciate all teachers for this, because I feel only educators can dismantle these type of barriers which are prevailing in the society. And for this, it is very, very essential that we have to promote the respect, the understanding, the love, the compassion to the children who are thriving in a diverse and interconnected world. So thank you very much, Sunita ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And it is very interesting topic actually.
Yes, sir.
I have, it is what to say that time is given less. So there should be a healthy discussion on it about
Yes.
that. I'd like to have one more session on this, that how we have a lot of advertisements which are spoiling the environment of our country in one or another way, and no check and balance is there on these advertisements. So thank you, Sunita madam. Thank you very much for such a wonderful explanation of your topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. And we would like to acknowledge the efforts and knowledge which has been generously shared by our esteemed speaker. So for that, I would like to invite Ma'am Ranjita Bhatia to deliver a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Namaskar. A very warm evening to everyone present here in this session. So as we conclude this thought-provoking workshop on equity, diversity, inclusion in education, I take the privilege of expressing a collective gratitude to those who made this meeting a success. First of all, we owe our deepest thanks to Dr. A.K. Sharma, Regional Education Officer, Delhi Kendra, our patron and guiding light, whose support and commitment towards the journey of making we teachers inclusive and adaptive to the needs of changing scenario of education have been the foundation of this initiative and many more to come. Sir, your leadership and vision have truly paved the way for many such important conversations and discussions, and we are deeply grateful for all of them.
Thank
A
you.
heartfelt appreciation also goes to our distinguished speaker, Sunita ma'am. Your wisdom and experience have greatly enriched our understanding of the equity and inclusion. The insights that you shared today has undoubtedly empowered us to create classrooms that are more welcoming and supportive to all. And to the dedicated participants, we teachers once again, thank you for your involvement, attention, and your presence throughout the workshop. This engagement or willingness to improve your practice and embracing diversity in your classroom is commendable. And I'm confident that the knowledge gained today will help translate into meaningful change in our classrooms. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Ranjita ma'am. And before we transition to our next session, I would like to remind you all that attendance link will be posted at